the Attorney General Election Chair for this year's homecoming. Let me take a moment to introduce our facilitating panel for this evening. Current Vice President Gina Weber, Secretary Laura Ahrens, and member of the Campus Life Department, Shauna Espinoza, and members of the Colonnade and News Editor John Dillon. At this time, please join me in welcoming current SGA President Jawan Jackson to the stage.
Thank you both for being here tonight. Welcome everyone to the 2015 SGA Presidential Debate. This should be a fun 30 minutes. The rules of the debate, we are going to have 4 rounds of questions, three questions each round. You have 90 seconds to respond and 30-second rebuttals. Any questions? Okay, we will start with opening statements from PPT Stanley.
Good evening, I'm Barrett Stanley. I stand before you tonight because I love Georgia College, but more importantly, I love the students. The students who attend this university have the ability to create an atmosphere so contagious that it spreads extensively throughout our campus. With the right leadership, we will be able to take this atmosphere to an all-new level. The type of leadership where we work as a team instead of a divided group of individuals. The type of leadership that is going to promote all opportunities for our campus instead of seeing no purpose for them. And the type of leadership where a team will be built up and promoted instead of just one person. My name is Barrett Stanley, and I'm here for you, the students. Because I'm just like your everyday student, I prefer to be addressed tonight by nothing other than Barrett. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrett. Go ahead, President Jackson.
Thank you, Vice President Weber. Everyone, good evening. Thank you for coming out to our debate tonight. It means a lot to see so many students out here today taking an interest into the future of your Student Government Association. My name is Jawan Jackson. For the past year, it's been an honor to serve as your president of the Student Government Association. For the past 3 years, it's been an honor to be a member of the Student Government Association. And I look forward to sharing with you my record here tonight and look forward to comparing my record to my opponents. Thank you.
Moving into the first round of questions, this question will be directed towards Barrett. Barrett, how would you maintain, enhance, and create campus traditions as SGA president?
As SGA president, I'd first like to say it is important that we keep those traditions alive. My family met here. My sister graduated here last May, and tradition is a big thing. You know, we must do everything we can to keep certain traditions within our campus alive. And whatever it takes, it will be kept. So tradition is definitely important.
Thank you, Barrett. The same question for you, President Jackson.
Thank you. Well, most recently, we've all known that one of these traditions that has been under attack is the tradition of graduating on front campus. That is something that, you know, the majority of our students are very passionate about. You know, we always talk about traditions, you know, this, traditions, that. But one of the real true traditions that we have is our front campus graduation commencement ceremony. Well, as you know, President Dorman has made a decision about moving commencement inside. And since that announcement, we've been doing everything in our, everything that we can possible to ensure we get that tradition back to where it belongs, and that's on front campus. Most recently, I've been working with the Alumni Board and also the Board of Trustees. We happen to have students who have parents that serve on those 2 different boards. Well, my thing is, we already have put our statement on behalf of SGA, but we're working with the Alumni Board, we're working with the Board of Trustees, so we have a strategic response going to this together to President Dorman saying, hey, you know, faculty, staff, students, and alumni, we all want for this tradition to maintain, to be on front campus, and I will continue to fight for that for as long as I've served as president and to the years ahead. Thank you.
All right, President Jackson, if you were to address any of the SABC, which stands for Student Activity Budgeting Committee, percentages, what would you change and why?
Well, right now we have, I believe it's a 5%, there's a 5% line right now for intramural field maintenance. This is something that was established years ago by the Student Government Association when intramurals was first getting started. By show of hands, how many of you are involved in intramural sports here at George College? So there's a huge number of students who take part in this very important activity for our student body. Well, this field maintenance is something that our plant operations should be able to take care of without having to worry about the students paying that fee. So from talking with Vice President Allen, our interim Vice President for Administration, we will be able to get plant operations to provide that service for us, and in return, we can turn those dollars over to other activities inside of our student activity fee. So that's one of the things we're going to do. We're going to eliminate that 5% intramural field maintenance, return that to plant operations where it belongs, and use that money to give back to your student organizations. Thank you.
Okay, PPT Stanley, would you respond?
This former leadership before me left $50,000 in the budget. That is $50,000 that could have gone back to you in y'all's individual organization's pockets. Why wasn't that money spent? Did it not have any to go? No, it was good to just sit there. It should have just sat there. And that's where it's at right now. It's just sitting there. So now it comes up to you. Now, who do you want to spend your money coming up? That extra 50 grand that we have. Me or my opponent. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, that's going to be the biggest question. Who do you want to spend your money, your fee money that comes to you, that you pay to go to this school? Who do you want to spend your fee money?
President Jackson,
Because unlike my opponent, I actually serve as chairman of the student activity budget committee and have had experience being on that committee. So how these things work is when your student organizations do not spend all the money that you have allocated for you within a year, that money goes back into a big pool of money that we put in what we call reserves. So reserves is there, so whenever there's a foreign activity on campus that is in dire need of funding, then we can utilize that reserve for that. For example, commencement. We proposed to President Dorman that if money was an issue with why commencement was moved inside, then we will utilize that money so that our students can have that service outside. Thank you.
we'll now move on to our media question from Editor-in-Chief John Dillon.
Yes. What do you think is the greatest challenge the student body has faced this year? As SGA President, how would you address this challenge?
As SGA President, first thing I think about is, who's in charge? Who is in charge of the Student Government Association? It is not me. I may have a president title, rather everybody call me Barrett, but I'm not in charge. You, the students, are in charge of what you do and what you want to receive. My job is to get it back in the hands of you. Whole first semester, the only thing we allocated back to students was $200, and that went to the salsa club. I can salsa, but I can do other things too. But at the end of the day, literally, at the end of the day, that's fine.
President Jackson.
So I can have Roberto first, and then I'll answer this question.
Okay.
Well, again, something that you failed to mention is that this year we provided our student organization with over $242,277 in funding so that you can fund your different organizations. So that's that's something else that we funded last year. Before you was in the middle of the exec board, that's something that my exec team asked SABC, that's what we funded you, so you can participate in your organization. And now to answer your question, I think one of the problems that we really face here at Georgia College is parking. Parking has been a huge problem here at Georgia College. And it was actually something I've been working on for the past 2 years, is working with our parking, transportation, and administration to find ways to expand parking here at Georgia College. Well, as of last Tuesday, I'm proud to announce this, and I actually had to miss the second day of campaigning because I had to go up to Atlanta to ensure that this deal goes through. I've been working for the past few years with Parking and Transportation and President Dorman to get this gift accepted near the depot. So all the land that you see behind the depot over the next couple of months, because we got that deal signed by the Board of Regents finally after 2 years, and it's something that I did when I was PPT. I started getting things done before I decided to run for president. So we finally got the signature of the Board of Regents, and I'm proud to announce that as of last Tuesday, over the course of the next couple of months, you'll start to see parking expanded here at Georgia College because that area behind the depot will start to be paved so that you can have more room to park. Thank you.
First off, I would like to clear the big parking thing you talked about that has been working on. You know, that's been a problem for years. Nobody can fix parking. The area behind the depot, it does need to be paved. The area he's talking about, the new area that may come out, the one that's all over social media, is promised to all you organizations, is actually 16-minute walk. The Irwin Street lot that you do not even use, this new spot of land is actually longer than that. And that's what I got to say.
President Jackson, how do you plan to increase student involvement in RSOs?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. When I was president of Pro Tem Board, we approved over 20 organizations as new RSO. Excuse me, the actual number is 21 is the number of organizations that we approved. So far this year, we've only approved 10 student groups. And then there's one student group that still has been pending. You know, the Water Polo Club, they would like to be approved as a new student organization. And I hope that PPT Stanley will go ahead and have that committee meeting so they can get that approved and so I can get it to my desk and so I can sign it. There's no reason why a student organization should be waiting longer than 3 weeks to get approved. It's a 1 to 2 week process. So we cannot continue to delay the process of approving our new student organizations. They have missions, they have activities, they have events they want to do, and when we have to ensure that we are fully supporting them, we can't put it off because we have a campaign. Just because we have a campaign doesn't mean you stop being PPT. Just because we have a campaign doesn't mean I have to stop being president. And I still have duties to do. And I would like to sign the Water Polo Club, and hopefully I'll get that on my desk this week. Thank you.
I will say this, I did get in contact with all those organizations, and I let them know that I was going to meet with them another time. Because I thought it was important that I was going to be outside every day with the students that I love here at this university, every single day, outside, meeting them face to face, front to front, every single day at 9 o'clock in the morning, I was up. And
Do you want me to repeat the question?
please.
Okay.
Thanks, Gino.
How do you plan to increase student involvement in campus organizations?
Student involvement in campus organizations. Well, the first thing we got to do is, you know, at the very beginning of the year, I was told, and everybody on our staff was told, that we're supposed to be approachable. No. If we want new student organizations, if you want new things to happen on this campus, you got to stop being approachable. We can't be approachable. We have to go approach people. We have to go approach people and get other people together with those people to create new organizations. We're going to approach y'all and stop letting y'all approach us. I'm coming to y'all.
Barry? What is a project or an initiative that the SGA has not been able to take on this year that you would pursue if you became SGA president?
be honest with you, I don't really quite know the projects that are currently going on. Because right now, we're at a level where our leader is here and we are here. We're not on the same page, so we don't even know what's going on.
President Jackson, same question.
Okay, I think the question was, what project would you like to see if re-elected as president or if elected as president, right? All right, so again, intramural sports is something that is very big here at our campus. And we have to find a way to put in a strategic plan in place so that we can complete the work of renovating our intramural fields over at West Campus. So far, President Dorman has allocated some money so we can get one of those fields completed. But we have 3 other fields over at West Campus that needs to be renovated. I enjoyed meeting with the Club Sports Council, Rec Sports Council last week, and we're going to begin taking steps to put together a strategic plan by meeting with your different club sports teams, meeting with those in charge of intramurals, so that we can find ways to raise money without having to touch the student activity fee as far as raising dollars. But we got to put together a strategic plan on ways that we can compile different funds so that we can get the business of renovating those fields over at West Campus so that your organizations can take part in all 4 fields over at that facility. Thank you.
Would you like to use a 30-second rebuttal?
No, I'm good.
Okay, we'll now move on to candidate questions. Each of you will get to ask each other 2 questions. So first, we'll start with President Jackson, asking a question for PBT Stanley, back to President Jackson, so on and so forth. Good.
All right.
President Jackson.
Awesome. PPT Stanley, Stanley Bear. You and I have the same 2 positions over our course of our freshman and sophomore years. When I was a freshman and you were a freshman, we both were senators. And then now as a sophomore, and when I was a sophomore, we both serve as president pro tem 4. Over the course of those 2 years, I registered for Legion 4-H as an official student organization on campus, which is now the 2nd largest chapter in the state of Georgia. I successfully passed 2 bills in the Senate. I approved 21 new student organizations on campus. I rechartered the University Students Council, and we held 7 monthly meetings. I got our
President Jackson, go ahead with the question.
Definitely will. And so, to say all that, I want to know that, before, this is all before becoming SGA president. So what's one accomplishment that you have achieved for the student body over the course of your tenure in SGA?
I'm going to say this. I don't believe it's about me and what I achieve. I believe it's about us and what we achieve. All my credit that I've done for everything, all the bills that I wrote, I've written them with somebody else, and I gave somebody else the credit. Because that's how you get people involved. That's how you do things. It creates a contagious atmosphere where people want to do things instead of feeling like they have to. And I believe that's what we need as a leader, and that's what's going to happen. With the purpose of student fees being to redistribute funds to students so they can accomplish more, why have you wasted thousands of student fee dollars on things to benefit your own office? Things such as expensive nameplates, banners, TVs right outside your office and in your conference room, and a personal printer that goes under your desk when we already have a fully functioning copier. And I have the receipts right here.
Thank you. Well, something told me that Barry was going to try to pull this. That's why I brought the SGA budget. And I brought our list of our special projects outlined so that we can discuss what exactly the style of that budget that we spend. So, just like every organization on campus, everyone is allocated a certain percentage of dollars for the organization to operate. So, but in SGA, we have 2 purposes. We have an operational side, and we also have a side where we have to give money to students for academic travel and also for bill allocations. Well, let's talk about some of the things that was done on the operational side. He mentioned TVs. The TV that's already outside of the office was there long before Barry and I even got to campus, before we even came to Georgia College. The new television that we have inside of the conference room is put in there because I know you haven't been in SABC hearings yet, but during SABC hearings, there's a lot of paperwork. So every member of SGA who is part of that exec board, they have different paperwork with all their budgets. We also have people who come in with organizations with more paperwork, and also it's a lot of paper. So we brought that in so we can eliminate waste inside of the SGA office as far as to cut back with the amount of paper that's being wasted. And also the television that's inside there, it doesn't even have cable. It's solely so that your so that your laptop can be connected to it, so that you can project budgets up there. When we have committee meetings, our committees can use that to project
That's
those
time, President Jackson.
instead of wasting money by printing out papers. Thank you.
President Jackson, go ahead with your question.
Awesome. And by the way, I'll be glad to sit down with anyone who wants to look over my budget, especially my special projects, and talk about different things that we've funded, such as the late night show on Thursdays. With my second question, so, last year when I was president of Pro Tem and we reestablished the University Students Council, I was elected in September, and then we continued with USC starting in October. And we had a successful USC every month with our presidents of our RSOs. So I just want to know, you've been PBT since September. Why is it that we've only had 2 University Student Council meetings, and only one, to be quite honest, was almost a packed house?
Well, because it was a packed house, I will say that I had 92 members attend my first University Students Council, and President Jackson never had above 40. So I think that definitely has a lot to do with it. But more than anything, I keep a face-to-face contact with the president of each registered student organization. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know every single president of every registered student organization on this campus. However, I do keep a really good relationship with pretty much all of them. And that's my answer.
PPT Stanley.
Can I have a vote?
You can have a 30-second follow-up.
Well, to all of that, last year when I was PPT, the purpose of the University Students Council is to once a month bring together all of the registered student organizations presidents. We have a University Service Council as well, where all the service reps come together to attend. So that's why we ensured that our presidents was there so they can be connected with resources instead of having a free-for-all where there's a lot of people there and then you're not able to have that personal relationship that the PPT should be having with our RSO presidents. Thank you.
All right, PPT Stanley, go ahead with your last question.
President Jackson, in your campaign, you say that you set up a plan to reduce student fees. Can you please explain to the students how you thought it would be beneficial to cut men's sporting programs, as well as the scholarship money to our hardworking student athletes, the one that wear Georgia College across their chest every single day and wake up at 6 a.m. and go to workouts for our school? Why would we want to possibly recommend that we cut at least one sporting program that came up? The golf team definitely came up during that conversation. But why would we even come up with cutting any sports program? Isn't that our job to promote them, do everything we can to help them?
Thank you for that question. And to respond, so that everyone knows what Barry is referring to, last semester, as you know, that I charged the creation of a task force to look at all our mandatory student fees. And we did a process called prioritization. And I will mention that it wasn't until I believe the 3rd meeting to where PPT Stanley finally asked the question, where's prioritization? That's something we should have found out in that first meeting. But to go on with that, I'm not afraid to go toe-to-toe with our administrators here on campus we can't continue to bow down to administrators every time they come to us and say, hey, we need to increase this fee, or we won't have any money to do our different things that we're currently operating with. Well, what I challenged our task force with last semester, and what I'm looking forward to move forward with, is we looked at every single last mandatory student fee and found ways to eliminate waste so that we can ensure that your dollars are used efficiently and effectively as possible. And you know, with the Title IX rules, and that also goes into what he was referring to, with Title IX rules, you have to have a certain number of women's sports and men's sports in order to stay in compliance with Title IX. And you know, with that, you know, that means you have to either increase sports or expand other opportunities elsewhere. Well, we should at least have that.
That's time, President Jackson.
Thank you.
You have 30 seconds.
So, out of all that, he either had the option to either cut him in sport or, you know, to add more sports, and he chose to cut one.
If I would, Madam Vice President, actually we haven't even added sport or got rid of the sport, so that's false, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Moving on to the next round. Okay, the colony has a question.
For President Jackson and also for Barrett. How would you rate SGA's productivity this year, and what would you do to increase it for next year?
Most definitely. Well, one of the first things that we did as a Student Government Association is early in the fall, you know, after we had our Senate workshop and we got our 25 senators in and sworn, not sworn in, but you know, as we had the workshop so they can get fully updated on everything, we held an SGA retreat. We did a lot of team activities so that we can come together, bring together the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and also the staff, all coming together to work together. And over the course of that time, we put together a plan of action. And I actually had for the Senate to provide the final details of our plan of action. In addition, we put together a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we saw with the Student Government Association. And we've taken action on all our different initiatives on that SWOT. And at the end of last semester, after talking with the Senate, you know, I gave everyone an opportunity to rate how we've done as far as met our goals for our SWOT. I'll feel free to share that SWOT with anyone who likes to see it after this meeting, so I know our time is limited. But I think that we've done a great job of being very productive in the Student Government Association this year. And I look forward to continuing that productivity onto next year. Thank you.
I would like to say each of our committees, individual committees on SGA, actually have achieved a lot this year. However, us as a Senate body has really achieved nothing. Right now, we are not a team. President Jackson said we are a team. Truth is, we're not a team. Our executive board is so far away from our Senate and became so separated from our Senate first semester that we only allocated one bill in the Senate. And like I said, that was $200 to the salsa club. I think if we become a team, I believe we can use the budget up in one semester, and I will have to reach into my own personal projects budget to get y'all more money. And that's what I'm going to do.
I work with some of the most hardest working people on our executive board. All of our executive board members are very hardworking. And our senators have accomplished a lot over the course of this past semester. So that's kind of slapping their face as they're supposed to be the leading senator to say that your Senate body did not accomplish a single thing. Senator Carlton Green, when he was chairman of the Campus Safety Committee, worked with Vice President Harshberger to bring about to get the person down near the Student Activity Center to ensure that safety is out there.
30 seconds.
Like I said, the committees were successful. That was the campus safety committee that Carlton was on that achieved that. Not Carlton itself, the whole committee.
Which is a part of the Senate.
Okay, moving on to the next question.
Since SGA has only allocated $200 in bills last semester, how would you encourage RSOs to reach out to SGA? Furthermore, how is SGA going to reach out to RSOs? Barrett.
Well, one of the things, like I said, is, SGA cannot keep going with this. We have to be approachable. We have to approach y'all. That's what it takes. We have to come out and see what y'all want. What do y'all need? I haven't said anything what I'm going to do yet. I've kept it broad. But I just want to tell y'all, on Tuesdays and Thursdays next year, there's a good chance we're going to have pre-printing in the SGA office. Why? Because I want y'all to come in to print y'all's papers. And when y'all come in to print y'all's papers, I'm going to ask y'all what organization you're in, how can I get your money, and what you need it for, and I'm going to give it to y'all.
All right, well, newsflash, printing is always available inside the campus office on the second floor of the Activity Center. All you have to do is bring in some paper, and then you can utilize the printer to print it all you want. As well, we're always available down on the first floor of the Activity Center in the SGA office. If you're in between classes and you need to print a paper, stop by your SGA office and get that printed. And we also have free Scantrons. If you need Scantrons, come down there and do that as well. Now, to answer your question, this past year, let's go back to administration. When President Allen was president, we was under a budget crisis. So we had to cut back the number of student organizations. This past year when Victoria was president, we actually was able to get those numbers back up. And then this year, we was able to provide numerous student organizations with funding. So under my administration, and started under President Fareed's last year, she eliminated the 1 year requirement for RSOs to be on campus. Because we eliminated that, we was able to fund more organizations on campus. Hence, while we have already allocated $242,277 before this year even started with SADC. So that's why we didn't see that many bills come to the floor last semester, PPT Stanley. It's because they were already allocated that money in their budgets. They have the money already. So that's why they didn't come to us saying we need more when they have the money already in their budget.
Thank you, Stanley.
You're right. You did accomplish a lot and give a lot of people money. What about the Senate? Their job is to give out money. Every year, organizations come through and we give them SABC money. We know that. The question is, when they need money during the year, that's when our senator's supposed to go to work and then give them money. We got $200 sauce club. There's nothing going to beat that. That fact is there. There's nothing going to beat that. And, like I said,
That's time to use it.
For quick rebuttal.
Okay, moving on to our last question from Secretary Aaron.
Okay, President Jackson. Oftentimes, the Student Government Association has been under the scrutiny for putting the needs of the organization above the needs of the student body as a whole. How would you respond to such criticism?
Thank you for that question, Madam Secretary. Under my administration, we have taken a lot of steps to move forward with getting you the services, the opportunities that you demand, that you deserve as a student body. We already mentioned, we talked about parking. Another student issue that we talk about is, it goes along with parking, is this concept of a bike share program. Many of you probably remember Colin Maldonado, who was a student here at Georgia College, who unfortunately passed away when he was overseas. One of the things that, when I was president-elect, one of the things that I wanted for us to move forward with was to finish this project that he started. The project was a bike share program to where students could reserve a bike and use that to move around from one place to another on campus instead of having to drive your car from one side of campus to the other side of campus You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to worry about the fear of getting a ticket. You should be able to do that by walking or by reserving a bike. Well, I work with our administration officials, the Environment Club, and my environmental directors from SGA, and I'm proud to announce that in the fall of this year, we'll have that bike share program finally established here on campus for you to utilize for this year.
Yes. Oftentimes, the Student Government Association has been under scrutiny for putting the needs of the organization above the needs of the student body as a whole. How would you respond to such criticism?
I'll respond to such criticism by first saying that it's our fault. It's not their fault. Our job as Student Government Association is to help the registered student organizations and overall help students on this campus. If we aren't doing our job, then they can't receive any benefits. If they don't receive any benefits, we are definitely not doing our job. And I'd say, I'm sorry, and being part of the executive board is part of my fault.
Well, I'll utilize my 30-second rebuttal just to mention another thing that the Student Government Association did in order to, try to answer the calls of students. Under my administration, we expanded SNAP to 7 days a week. So there's never a day this year, there's never a day during the week where you cannot utilize the services of SNAP. So that's something that we did under my administration. We funded SNAP to be able to run 7 days a week. Thank you.
Before SNAP, it's crazy how all of a sudden we just fund them for this 7 days a week right close to the election time. I will also say that for SNAP, we're funding for SNAP to keep going back. We ever thought of their benefits? They're cold. They don't have anything to wrap around the court. I've gone to the president of SNAP face to face and talked to him. What benefits are we giving them? So you can go 7 days, but y'all gonna be cold driving them golf carts.
We're done with rebels. We're going to move on to our next questions. Okay, now we're going to move on to questions from the audience members. It'll be the same rules as the previous question. Okay. Okay. Yellow shirt, blue hoodie, and red hoodie. Come up here because we don't have a wireless microphone.
All right, I guess President Jackson, you can answer first, and then PVT Stanley. But my question for you is, what will you do if you do not win this presidential election?
Thank you for that question. Well, first off, I was elected to serve this year as president of the Student Government Association. So win or lose, I'm going to continue to work towards addressing the problems that we've already established, addressing your needs. So I'm going to continue to do that with my, to the best of my ability for the rest of this semester. Now, looking forward to next year, and in case that I do not continue to serve as president, then my number one passion is service. And so, when I came to Georgia College, one of the first things I did with the help of Kevin Morris is we established a collegiate 4-H club. And so, 4-H and service is real, near and dear to my heart. So I would love the opportunities to be a part of service organizations to continue to do what my first heart desire is, and that's service. Thank you.
If I were to lose, the answer is no. I wouldn't run again for Senate. And the reason being is, first of all, I wish President Jackson all luck. He is a fantastic leader. He does a good job. But I've always gone out and do different things in my life. That's one of the reasons why I got involved with SGA in college. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons why I did SGA is because I never did it before. It's good to go after different things. And to to be honest with you, one of the things in high school that I never got a chance to do is be on the literary team. So I'd actually go say hey to the theater department, but we're losers.
Hi, this is specifically for you, Senator Riley, or Barrett's here. I was just curious about what you said about SNAP a second ago. My first question is, I guess, do you not see the benefit of SNAP? I know it is cold outside, which is why you do have the option of working or not, and they do get paid very well. And I'm not sure if you actually talk to any of the people who do SNAP, but everyone I talk to loves their job. So do you feel like it's not beneficial for students? Because I've been here for 4 years, and I can definitely see how SNAP has not recently been changed, but within the last 2 years, been changed to run longer. And it's actually great. And it even actually started going to the village, which it didn't normally do. And I don't know if you it did for a while. The night, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, first, yeah. So I'm just saying, like, SNAP is a great benefit. Do you not feel that way for the campus?
I totally agree with you. I did agree with President Jackson. These 7 days of SNAP is great. But I think where we missed kind of the question at, where we missed kind of the question at is, you know, the SNAP drivers are students on our campus too, not just the people that get on SNAP. And they deserve all the benefits that the riders that ride on there too. If they're cold, I'm going to do anything I can to help them out. And if it comes to decrease the SNAP so I can get them more money, my student drivers are not going to be cold at night. I won't have it. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, one thing, Barrett, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. The fact of the matter is, when I was president of Coach Board, one of the things that we worked under President Fareed's administration, we expanded SNAP last year to Saturdays. So that happened last year. Over the course of this year, under my administration, and this was last semester, not this semester, it wasn't like the last few days that we got SNAP running 7 days a week. We had SNAP running 7 days a week since the beginning of this academic year. So that's when SNAP first started running 7 days a week. As far as the pay scale for that, you know, that's something we can talk about with Taylor, who is the coordinator, and also talk about that with Officer Gary Purpose, who is the officer in charge. We're working with SNAP. And so they present their budget with how much they're going to pay for their employees and you know, how much they want to run if we were to extend it. So that's something we can continue to have a conversation about. But just, you know, remember, you are entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Thank you.
The SNAP drivers are cold and they're freezing the hell out. And we still haven't done anything about it. That's a fact.
For my 30 second ago, you know, I have yet to have a SNAP officer come to me to say that, you know, that they can't do their job because they were cold. You know, if there was a SNAP officer to come and bring that concern to me as your president of the Government Association, you know, let's sit down and let's find out how we can address the issue. If it means that we need to buy you a jacket, let's buy you a jacket. But whatever it is, you know, if there's a need, then bring it to the Government Association and we'll get that need met. That's what we do in SGA. And that's why I do best, is see a need and take action to get it done. Thank you.
After this question, we'll allow for one more audience question.
Hi, I'm president of Braveheart, which we're looking to end interpersonal power-based violence on our campus. And we're just really concerned with the safety of our campus and making sure that we're moving forward in a manner that makes sure that we hold ourselves accountable to being the safest campus in Georgia. So how are y'all committed to working with Project Brave and ending sexual violence on our campus, especially given rumors that one of the candidates has taken part in activities that further the tolerance of rape and rape culture on our campus.
I wasn't ready for that. Well, since becoming president, I'm honored to have been selected by the Chancellor of the University System of Georgia, Chancellor Huckabee, to serve on a system-wide campus safety committee. On this committee, we're looking at each of the different 30 institutions that makes up the University System of Georgia to find ways to increase safety. So not only at Georgia College, but also at other institutions in our system. Yeah, I know that my multicultural director for SGA, Elizabeth Rare, is a member of Project Brave, so I'm glad that she's a member of that. So moving forward, I want to have a conversation with Project Brave to find out ways that we can continue to work with the Women's Center to provide services for them, to bring in grants, more grants, but I know they've already been awarded about 2 grants already. But let's bring in more grants so we can provide those services to our students. The number one thing that we can provide for our student body is safety. No student should have to go to college with the fear of being raped or being hurt or being Your number one priority should be graduating within 4 years, and take you a little longer, then so be it. But safety should not be on your mind when you come to college.
Katie, I first want to say, thank you for coming up here and showing your passion. Right when my committee approved the organization, I knew right from the start, y'all are going to be fantastic. Y'all are doing unbelievable things on this campus. You're right. We have to make a stop to that. Being we are the safest campus in the state of Georgia, we have to do everything to stay that way. And, Braveheart, that's one step to do it. And I appreciate y'all being here. I will also say, though, that I'm not the only one as in a Greek organization up here, so that should have been 2. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think she was referring to being inside of a Greek organization. And just to clarify that, I am a member of the Greek organization as well. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which is one of the Greek organizations on campus as well. Thank you.
PPT Stanley.
There we go.
Okay, this is our last audience. If y'all have more questions afterwards, you can come and talk to the candidates.
Hi, first I'd like to thank the people who are not behind me who let me ask my question. I really appreciate that. Wrote it down and everything. My name is Kate Ward. I am the president of Pride Alliance here on campus. I work to serve all of our LGBT students, and hopefully I hope that I help educate every student on campus about LGBT issues. First, I want to thank you both for expressing interest in coming to our meeting earlier tonight at 7:30. Barrett, we're sorry to miss you, and hopefully you're feeling better. I just wanted to ask, what are y'all's specific proposals that would affect our LGBT students here on campus, or that would promote LGBT inclusion? And please be specific. Thank you.
I'd like to first off say I was feeling too sick to stay through last night. And Kate, I appreciate your passion. Definitely. I emailed one person earlier in the week, said I could come. Then all of a sudden there wasn't time for me to come, and I just didn't see that I was welcome to come to the meeting. But the LGBT is an organization on campus, and they should deserve every right, just like every student organization. Diversity is an unbelievable thing, but we have to know that it is achievable. And to make it achievable, we have to have the implementation. Right now, it's just a word. Let's achieve it. Thank you.
And I could use my rebuttal first, and then I'll ask you a question. As far as it being a word and not achievable, as you know, President Dorman and his administration, we put together together a diversity action plan. And if you go back and look at that diversity action plan and look at what we were supposed to get accomplished over this past semester, you will see that everything on there we have made progress on. So we are moving forward to making our campus a more diverse and inclusive environment. Now, to answer your question, one of the things that the Senate did last year was to pass a resolution supporting a full-time LGBTQ coordinator position on campus. And that's something that we also passed this year as part of the University Senate. So the University Senate, which I serve on, through my committee, that's SAPC, we championed the passage of that similar wording. And so now both of those have been turned over to President Dorman, and that's been included into the provost's budget. And so hopefully President Dorman will fund that, and we'll have a full-time coordinator position by this fall. Additionally, I know that there's an LGBT task force that we have on campus as well, but it's my understanding that task force has not been the most involved or spearheaded as far as efforts to make our campus more LGBT friendly. Well, I like to work with Grace and with also other members of Pride Alliance, and also with other members who might be involved in that process to find out how we can get that task force more involved, more engaged on our campus, so that we can together work to make our campus a more diverse place. Let me say, diversity does not start from top down. Diversity starts from top down, bottom up, left, right, right, left. It takes all of us working together to increase
Keyword President Jackson used right there, working together.
Okay. That concludes our debate for tonight. We are going to have Attorney General Weitzel just give a few more words about homecoming events, and thank you all for coming.
Does begin tonight at 11:45 p.m. It does close on Thursday at 11:45 p.m. So be sure to have a great evening and to cast your votes tonight. Thank you.